Wine stepped out of the bathroom, adjusting her clothes and letting out a tired sigh. Her mother noticed immediately. What's taking you so long? Your dad is waiting in the car. He's already honked twice. It's my period, she muttered, rubbing her forehead. Oh, you're looking pale. Are you sure you want to go on this trip? Mom, I have been looking forward to it for weeks. I will be fine. It's not that. Her mom gave her a concerned look and placed a hand on her shoulder. I just don't want you pushing yourself too hard. If you feel worse, promise me you will rest, okay? I promise, don't worry. I will take it easy. Good. But pack some extra pads you don't want to be caught unprepared. I will. Just then, the car horn blared from outside. Go on, or your dad will come in himself. And don't forget the pads. Got it? She called out as she rushed toward the door. In her hurry, she completely forgot about the pads. The college entrance was a scene of bustling energy. As students excitedly prepared for the trip, small groups gathered around, chatting about that they had brought. Henry, what did you bring? Chips and a ton of snacks, enough to last me the whole trip. He said proudly, holding up his oversized bag. That's all. Snacks are life. What about you? Makeup, of course. You never know when you will need it for pictures. They laughed, and another student, Jenny, joined in. You guys are so basic. I brought a portable speaker. We will need good music. Oh, nice. We can have a dance party on the bus. Don't count me in. I'm bringing books. This trip is the perfect chance to catch up on reading. The group groaned playfully. Books? Seriously, we're going on a trip, not a study retreat. Live a little, Cleon. Wait, Jungkook, what did you bring? Everyone's attention shifted to the heartthrob standing at a distance, arms crossed and smirking as if he owned the word. Before Jungkook could answer, Lisa walked over with a bright smile. Jungkook, what did you bring for the trip? His smirk disappeared in an instant, replaced by a cold expression. I came by myself. Isn't that enough? Don't disturb me. Her smile faded and she backed away, clearly embarrassed. Jungkook put one earbud back in, signaling that he didn't want to be bothered. Just then, a car pulled up to the entrance. Wine stepped out, adjusting her bag as she walked toward the crowd. Her eyes scanned the excited faces, trying to suppress the irritation bubbling inside her. Jungkook removed one earbud as his eyes followed her. Finally, decided to show up, huh? Wine rolled her eyes. Don't disturb me. Not today. Her tone was sharp and there was fire in her eyes. Jungkook's smirk returned. He loved how easily he could rile her up. Before Wine could say more, Jisoo ran up to her with a bag grin and hugged her tightly. Thank God you're here. I thought you would miss it. Miss the trip? No way. Wine loves traveling too much. Wine giggled, feeling her annoyance ease a little. Why were you late? Wine leaned closer and whispered, Periods. Jisoo gave a sympathetic nod, but Wine's eyes widened suddenly. Oh crap, what's wrong? I forgot to pack extra pads. Could anything worse happen today? Relax, I always carry extra. You can have some of mine. You are a lifesaver, Jisoo. Thank you. The teacher's voice suddenly cut through the chatter. All right, students, it's time to board the bus. I hope everyone is here. The crowd erupted into cheers as they rushed toward the bus. Everyone scrambles to find the best seats, laughing and jostling for space. Wine was one of the last to board. She looked around, searching for an open seat. At the back of the bus, Jungkook sat in a window seat, one earbud in, gazing out the window. He saw Wine slowly walking down the aisle, her irritation still evident on her face. As she passed by, Jungkook pulled out one earbud. You are walking like an old lady. You sure you are up for this trip? Wine stopped and shot him a glare. Mind your own business, Jungkook. Someone is in a mood today. Did you forget your beauty sleep? Wine Houghton kept walking, refusing to let him get a rise out of her. Behind her, Jungkook smirked, satisfied with how easily he could get under her skin. Wine scanned the bus nervously, searching for an empty seat. Her eyes darted from row to row, but each one was already taken. She spotted one seat right next to Jungkook. Her heart sank. Of all the people, before she could decide what to do, someone bumped into her shoulder and ran down the aisle. Sorry, Wine, she called out before sliding into the last empty seat beside Jungkook. Wine was left standing, gripping the rod above her head as the bus began to lurch forward. Jungkook sat beside Lisa, but his eyes stayed glued to Wine. Her discomfort was obvious despite her attempts to hide it. Exchange seats with me. Huh? Why? Just move. His voice was cold, leaving no room for argument. Lisa reluctantly switched seats. Wine noticed Jisoo looking her way and offering her seat. Wine, sit here. I'm fine, Jisoo, don't worry. Suddenly the driver pressed the accelerator and Wine lost her balance. She stumbled backward, nearly landing on Jungkook's lap. But before she could fall, a strong hand caught her. It was Jackson. You okay? He gently helped steady her and stood beside her. You can take my seat if you want. Jungkook's eyes narrowed, his jaw clenched as he watched the interaction. If the driver brakes, she will end up in his arms. Without a second thought, Jungkook stood up and grabbed Wine by the wrist, pulling her onto his lap. What the hell are you doing, Jungkook? Don't act like a gentleman. I know all your secrets. Should I tell everyone? Jackson's face turned red. He sat down without another word. Hey, let me go. What? You would rather land on his lap? Wine's face burned with embarrassment. She glanced around, noticing all eyes on them. Is there a movie playing? Mind your business. The students quickly averted their gazes, returning to their conversations. As the bus continued down the road, Lena shot Wine a glare. Jisoo leaned over and handed Wine a small healing patch. Here, this will help with the cramps. Wine smiled gratefully. Jungkook's sharp eyes softened slightly as he observed the exchange. He noticed how Wine shifted uncomfortably on his lap, trying to find a better position. Without a word, Jungkook stood up, gently placing Wine in his seat. What are you doing? Nothing, just making you more comfortable. He held onto the rod, standing beside her. Wine blinked in surprise. Why was he suddenly being considerate? He always loved to tease her. Something felt different. I think someone has a soft spot for you. Wang's mind raced. Was it possible Jungkook had another side to him? Lisa, clearly annoyed, stood up and rolled her eyes at Wang before walking toward Jackson. She flashed him a flirtatious smile, flipping her hair. Hey, Jackson, mind if I sit on your lap? It's a long trip. He smiled, leaning in as she tried to strike up a conversation. Meanwhile, Wang noticed the seat next to her was now empty, and Jungkook was still standing, holding the rod above him. Jungkook, come sit here. Jungkook glanced at the empty seat but didn't move immediately. Scoot to the window seat. Why? Shouldn't tell you that you like the window seat? Wang's eyes widened. How does he know that? Still, she moved over and Jungkook sat beside her. Despite their usual bickering, there was a strange sense of calm between them. As the bus ride stretched on, Wine started to doze off. The gentle vibrations of the bus her into sleep, her head tilting to the side. Jungkook glanced at her, thinking to himself. Could she rest her head on my shoulder, as if the universe had heard him? Wine leaned against his shoulder, completely asleep. Jungkook froze, his breath catching, his usual teasing smirk softening into something gentler. He stayed perfectly still, not wanting to wake her. 2 hours later, the bus slowed to a stop at a rest area. All right, everyone, who will take a short break here? The students eagerly filed out. Some rushed to the washrooms while others gathered around snack stalls. Jungkook noticed Wine staring awake. As she stood, his sharp eyes caught a faint stain on the back of her skirt. Wine, wait! Wine froze, turning to look at him. Most of the students had already gotten off, leaving just the two of them at the back of the bus. Jungkook took off his jacket and gently wrapped it around her waist, trying to securely. You are covered now. One's face flushed with embarrassment and gratitude. Oh, thank you. She quickly left for the restroom, her cheeks still burning. After freshening up, Wine joined her friends at a table outside. They were all sitting together, chatting and laughing. Wine, come sit here. Did you see those snacks? I bought 3 bags of chips. And I grabbed so much candy. We will be running on sugar the whole trip. Lena's gonna need all that energy for taking pictures. Hey, pictures are important. I want good memories. The group burst out laughing and Wine felt more relaxed. The teacher clapped her hands, gathering everyone's attention. All right, students, let's board the bus. We still have a few hours before we reach the destination. Everyone got up and made their way back to the bus. Back on the bus, Wine sat back down in her seat beside Jungkook. The air conditioning was cranked up high, and a chilly breeze brushed against her. She shivered slightly, rubbing her arms. Jungkook noticed and leaned closer, smirking. Cold, a little. Want me to give you body heat? Wine's eyes widened and her cheeks flushed a deep red. What? Jungkook chuckled at her flustered expression, clearly enjoying himself. Why are you behaving so differently today? Jungkook's playful expression softened slightly. Because I care about you. Wine's breath hitched, but I mean, how should I explain now? I don't know. She turned to look out the window, her face burning. Jungkook's gaze stayed on her. Before she could register what was happening, he pulled her gently onto his lap. What are you doing? Everyone might see. No one has the guts to say anything, not unless they want to lose their lives. His voice was low and serious, sending a chill down her spine. You were so beautiful. Oh, thanks for telling me. I love myself too. She shot back a quick, sarcastic reply, trying to hide how nervous she was. Not more than I do. I can make you scream on the bed with pleasure. Can you make sure? Self. Wine's face turned crimson and she covered it with her hands. Jungkook, you're cute when you are embarrassed. Wine didn't know whether to scold him or hide from his intense gaze. The rest of the bus ride was filled with playful teasing and stolen glances. The tension between them thick in the air. Wine sat stiffly on Jungkook's lap, still recovering from his earlier comments. She looked out the window, trying to ignore the heating radiating from his body. Why are you acting like this? Like what? Caring for me all of a sudden? Seeing you care? Jungkook tilted his head, smirking. Can't I care for my enemy? Since when do you care for anyone but yourself? Jungkook leaned closer, his voice dropping to a teasing whisper. Since you started looking so cute when you were mad. Wine turned to him, her eyes narrowing. You are impossible, and you are adorable. She crossed her arms, refusing to meet his gaze deep down. Her mind was racing. Does he love me? Is that why he's acting like this? Why he stood up for me earlier? Why he notices even the smallest things about me? Her cheeks flushed at the thought, and she quickly shook it off. If you care about me so much, why don't you just let me sit in peace? Sitting on my lap isn't peaceful? No, it's not. Chokuk chuckled, clearly enjoying her flustered stage. The bus suddenly entered a long tunnel, and the inside was plunged into complete darkness. Gasps and whispers filled the bus as students reached to the unexpected pitch black surroundings. Before Wine could adjust, she felt Jungkook's hand gently tilting her chin toward him. Jungkook, what are you? Her words were cut off as his lips pressed against hers. The kiss was firm, leaving her no room to protest. Her eyes widened in shock, her heart pounding in her chest. When the bus emerged from the tunnel into the faint glow of the street lights, Wine pulled back, her face burning. What was that? A kiss, obviously. Why would you do that? Because I wanted to. Wine stared at him, completely speechless. She touched her lips, still feeling the warmth of his. Her mind was a whirlwind of emotions anger, embarrassment, confusion, and something else she couldn't quite name. You are unbelievable, Jungkook. And you liked it, didn't you? No, I didn't. Jungkook leaned in closer, his voice a low whisper. Liar, your face says otherwise. Wine quickly turned toward the window, her cheeks blazing. She bit her lip, trying to calm her racing heart. Why is he doing this? Why does he have to tease me so much? Why does he make me feel this way?